Okay, so this is the final thing that we're going to be discussing about mise en scène, and is also the final video for this week. And what we're going to be discussing is a subset underneath acting, and that's what's called frontality versus oblique framing. Now, what you can see here is a screenshot, I stopped the video, of Felicia Day as Codex. And she is she's facing the camera that is directly facing her. And that is what is called frontality. It doesn't have to be a person. It can just be an object. Excuse me. But you can see here that her shoulders are straight on as if she is facing us and looking at us. You will also see that she is talking and looking at us and addressing us directly, the audience members. And that is called breaking the fourth wall. Now, you can have, this unfortunate face, there we go. You can have frontality and not break the fourth wall. That can happen. So you do have to make sure that when you're talking about breaking the fourth wall, that the actor or the actress that is directly facing the camera is actually addressing the audience directly. So if something else is going on where they're not addressing the audience, that is not breaking the fourth wall. So do be careful about how you use frontality and breaking the fourth wall. They are not interchangeable. Now I wanted to show you an example of this. We're going to have a couple that's not frontality, but this is frontality. But Bork is not breaking the fourth wall. There we go. Frontality again. But Tinkerbella is not breaking the fourth wall. She's talking, she's looking at us, but she's not talking to us. She's talking to Felicia Day over her headset. And again, frontality, not breaking the fourth wall. Now I'm sorry, I keep accidentally hitting the wrong pause button. This is what's called oblique framing here. Instead of frontality, you can see that Zabu's shoulders were to an angle. We're back at frontality again. Frontality, here we go. This is oblique framing, and this is what we typically see in the classical cinema style. You'll notice that the actor's shoulders are at a 30-degree angle to the camera, and this is part of classical cinema style. One of the key features of oblique framing is this 30-degree angle. So it makes it seem as though the character is not addressing the audience directly, and in fact that we, the audience, are instead spying upon characters going about their everyday life. So you'll notice with oblique framing, as opposed to frontality, here we have Felicia Day's shoulders, and even though she's, her body is tilted towards the camera, it's at a 30-degree angle, both hers as well as Clara's. Okay? Now, this gives us, again, the perception that we're in the audience, we're a fly on the wall, we're just spying on the characters, and this is something that's happening in real life. So we have this privileged access as opposed to something that's been staged specifically to speak directly to us. Okay? Now, if we go back to the kind of frontality that we see where the character is not addressing us, we'll see how that tends to blur fact and fiction. So again, here we're going to have Bork with frontality and frontality again. So this mixture between frontality and oblique framing also helps to us to start thinking about how these transmedia web series are trying to blur the line between fact and fiction, what's made up and what is reality. And a lot of times when people are watching a web series like this, they have a difficult time differentiating between the actor as the character and the actor as a real person. This becomes especially difficult since Felicia Day, who goes by Codex in the film, actually wrote the series as well, and she wrote it about her real life experiences. Nevertheless, we have to realize that this is a fictionalized account and that we're watching a fictional narrative. Okay, so nevertheless, we get confused because we start thinking about these characters as more real because they address us directly as opposed to us just spying on them with oblique framing. Okay? So I want you to make sure that you do pay attention to that and start recognizing as you're watching TV what TV shows, what movies, what videos that you watch, use the 30-degree or oblique angles, which is what you typically see in regular cinema, films, and TV shows that aren't reality shows. And then when they go ahead and they use frontality, sometimes they'll use it artistically, and sometimes they'll use it to actually break the fourth wall. Okay, so I want you to be thinking about everything that we've discussed in these videos this week about mise en scène and gaming from the chapter 3 in digital story, or chapter 5 in digital storytelling, and the guild. And as you move into your writing assignment and then also take your quiz, you're going to be thinking about all the 5 different kinds of mise en scène: costuming, decor and setting, space, acting, and lighting. And using those 5 categories to think about their significance or importance in 2 screenshots, okay? And this assignment is posted on Moodle. So you're going to create a document, like a Word document, in which you will paste a screenshot. Right now we're going to be talking about this image here. And then you're going to identify and analyze the significance of 5 types of mise en scène as captured in these 2 different screenshots. So I've put instructions on Moodle on how to take screenshots if you are, as of yet, unfamiliar with that. But you're going to need to take these screenshots and paste it into a document. So, for example, I'll do it here. I just updated my green shot today and gave them a donation because they are open source software. They don't have a lot of money. So gave them a little donation because I do use this. So I'm going to, screenshot is what I use to take a screenshot. So you can see I pushed a screenshot on my PC, and I want to, let's see here, send this screenshot to Microsoft Word. And you'll see my Microsoft Word document has opened up, and here is the screenshot. It's being centered here a little oddly on your frame. But I can go in and cut this, crop it in my Word document, make it a little bit smaller so we just have this information here. And then I'm going to go in and focus in on the details. I'm going to model for you what you're going to do in your assignment. So we talk about the fact that here we can tell we're in a booth at a restaurant, that the circular beige setting, the beige and beige, as well as the fake plant in the background and this rather bad artwork, shows that this is probably a low budget or kitschy kind of restaurant, someplace that would be appropriate for the guild members to congregate, since they are, supposed to be nerdy gamers with not a lot of money. They're all unemployed. We can see that they're all wearing casual clothing that denotes the fact that they are not workers or going working. That we have Tinkerbella here in a tank top, 2-layered tank tops, which help to establish her character as somebody who is young and interested in her sexuality. Also, the fact that Clara here is wearing sort of a velour sweatshirt over a tank top shows that she also is interested in her sexuality, but is a little bit older and maybe a little bit more conservative in her expression of it than Tinkerbella. Now we also have a lot of water cups over here by Zabu and Codex, who's off screen. This shows that they're really trying to conserve money. Clara, with her martini, establishes her character as being a drunk. And then the Diet Coke for Tinkerbella, again, underscores that she's young and underage. We also have here the shoulder of Blade's little sister. So we'll have to talk about her maybe a little bit, or think about what we see with her. But just that she's still here on the edge to show that that's who that they are looking at. It helps to establish that she's part of this conversation still. Now, the lighting is, as you can see from the shadows, and there's not much light back here, that it's not a high key lighting. You could say that it's somewhere between high and low key lighting, and that there are shadows, and that the characters are a little bit pressed up against the background. But that, again, establishes probably in this particular instance the low budget of the web series at this point. We'll see as the series progresses that delighting, and everything gets a lot better as they start raising more money. But when you start off, you got to start someplace. So the acting we have here, Zabu looks kind of quizzical. Clara looks dumbfounded as always. And this, again, back up their character types, whereas Tinkerbella looks disgusted. So shows that no matter what it is that they're reacting to that's being said at this moment, that they consistently sort of fall into these patterns, where Zabu is sort of like a little puppy, and Clara is always sort of like, what's going on? Or really excited. And Tinkerbella is usually more interested in what's going on her phone, which we can see here, than she is in real life people. Okay? So also their menus show that they have not yet ordered. So let's see, we've covered acting, lighting, and space. You can see here in the space that it's pretty shallow space, that there's only the foreground, and we have also it's not really deep focus. Somewhere in between shallow and deep focus, in that this person is slightly out of focus, but not too bad. The middle ground here is crisp and clear in focus. And the background's a little bit out of focus, but again, not too bad. So it's pretty much shallow space with deep focus. Okay. Now, I paused the video so that I could find this particular screenshot here. And it's one of my favorite scenes, where we have Clara at the computer expressing milk, and her children behind the baby gate here and trapped in the kitchen. And so if you start here again and start analyzing, you get a deeper appreciation for Clara's character, because on the surface, she seems sort of just like flighty and drunk and, the crazy mom who never takes care of her kids. But if you sit here and take a pause and look at the details, first of all, the little girl's costumes here. The one girl on the left, she's got her hair pulled back in a bow, and the other one has little pigtails in. They both, obviously, she's spent some time with them. They both have on clean clothes, cute clothes that are appropriate for their age and gender. So again, she's invested some sort of time with them. And that's awesome. The setting and decor, we have obviously the baby gate in the foreground, and usually a baby gate is used to keep children out of the kitchen since it's dangerous. Clara's using it to keep her children in the kitchen, and so that's something to pay attention to. She's locked them in there with all the dangerous stuff, which comes up here in the narrative for laughs. Here it doesn't look too dangerous. We've got a lot of towels. It's a little bit messy. Some dishes that need to be cleaned. But, it's generally in pretty good shape. The linoleum is clean. Things seem to be relatively organized, if not perfect. It's hard to keep things perfect when you have a kid, so it seems rather realistic. Again, with the setting and decor, also notice that the little girls have sippy cups. So she's provided them with some juice or a drink, a beverage, which is good. They also have toys back in there, so she's provided them with something to do. Also importantly, she's, you can see where Clara, the subtitle, closed captioning says, "There's no note." And we can see her daughter holding the note in her hand, and she's going to throw the note here in just a minute. And so obviously this is supposed to show a level of comedy. So the innocent acting of the children compared to what's actually happening is important. The space, again, we've got some deep focus here. Things in the foreground, midground, and background are all equally in focus. And the lighting is natural. You can see it coming from the right from the window. So this is what you're supposed to do for your assignment. Don't forget to also take the quiz. Quiz is only 5 questions. You only get 5 minutes, so make sure you're prepared before you start. You've done the reading, you've listened to the videos, you've taken notes, you know what to do. If you've done all those things, it should be easy as pie. I wish you all very good luck, and I look forward to reading your submissions.